She's gonna try to go through the screen.
No, she's not. She's not gonna fix that.
This is really funny. And we're good. Hello!
Hey!
Welcome to part 3
Three.
of our love story.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you missed it, we talked in part 1 about how we first met and how that first started, and then part 2 started at our first date, right? So now part 3, we're going to tell you where we're at now and kind of talk about that a little, but then we are going to give you our 3 tips on how to maximize your love life
Based on our experiences with each other.
Yep, and how, well, I guess more importantly, how to find, like, a good person. And we don't want to say, like, find the one,
Yeah.
because you know, but find a nice relationship that has the potential to go far.
Which leads us into our first tip, which is...
Point number 1, don't rush love.
And what we mean by that is you can't rush love and life. You gotta let it come to you. Because when I had met Erica, when I was saying in the first video, it's not like I went into PFP looking for a relationship.
And I definitely didn't start college looking to get a boyfriend before classes even began.
So, I mean, for me, when Erica caught my attention, I kind of went with that flow to see what would kind of be that next step, and it's something that you can't rush. So, you know, I was trying to do some thinking about don't rush love, and I came across the Washington Post's Date Lab, which I don't know if you've ever seen it.
You should. It's really cool.
It's essentially like a once-a-week date that the Washington Post has applicants throw in, like, it's sort of like Match.com, but the Washington Post chooses who is going to go on dates, and then they pay for everything. But what happens is 90% of the relationships don't work, because what I think is the Washington Post pairs what people's similarities and differences are. Well, they focus on their similarities, and they go out, and it doesn't work. So what I mean with don't rush love is, this is gonna sound a little weird, but like the galaxy, I feel, comes together when you're yourself. When you are trying to be someone you are not, and you want to focus on getting the right person, you're not in your element of being yourself. And even if you do find someone, then when you actually become comfortable, you're someone else, because you're naturally going to regress back to who you are, and the other person's going to say, what? Like, who is this person that, you know, I've seen it too many times where, and I'll be biased on the guy's side, like, I'll see a girl, she will try to be who the guy wants her to be, but it never works, because you would be miserable trying to keep that up for 8 years. So when it comes to love, I feel like just be yourself. And you heard in past videos, like, I just down like sweatpants and stuff like that, and Erica still loved me, you know, for who I was. So I think that is like the anchor in any love story, is not rushing it, letting kind of the flow carry your relationship.
And we'll talk more about being yourself in a tip and a half.
Yeah.
But
Tip number 2.
Tip number 2 is to know who you are and to know what you want. So what we mean by this, we kind of think of it a little bit differently than just be yourself. This is more so knowing who you are as a person, knowing what you stand for, what you believe in, what you're okay with, what you're not okay with, and being confident in that and owning it. And then with that too, knowing what you want in a relationship, whether you just want a hookup, or whether you want to find, like, the love of your life and be serious in a long-term dating relationship until something more. Know that ahead of time, and then just be honest with the people that you're seeing.
And I have to say this, and I hope that I don't, like, offend any gals out there watching this video, but this is another thing from just a guy's perspective, and I'm gonna give you like too much tips at one time, but if you want to be with a guy and you want to be in a relationship, and then you hook up with the guy because that's what the guy wants on the first date, and then after you're like, why doesn't he talk to me anymore? It's because he clearly knew what he wanted and you didn't understand what you really wanted. And so if you really want that relationship, I always feel like you have to have a lot of respect for who you are, and you have to kind of think a step ahead on the guy's point of view, because it's not a good role of the guy to do that. But if you ask the questions like, what do you want? And just be straightforward, it goes a long way. And just kind of, I would say, using common sense to know that how many people do you know in your life, how many movies have you seen where that same thing happens, but then people still do it. So
and that brings us to tip number 3, which is be yourself and don't play games.
Which ties into point number 2 right there with, you know, like, you're telling your guy, or if you're a guy watching this, you know, you're telling the girl, like, this is who I am, and this is kind of what I want. Now, you're not going to ask it like that, though. You're not going to say, like, let's have a conversation, this is who I am, this is what I want. No, you're going to kind of, what would you say, like, you're going to kind of, like,
I would say just, like, let it happen naturally, and if you just kind of own that and know it yourself, it'll probably come up naturally, too, or it'll just come across very clearly, where with the way you speak, with the way you carry yourself, you can kind of very easily convey what you want, what you believe in and whatnot, just by the way you carry yourself. People can get pretty good guesses. You still might need to, I think, say it sometimes if the other person's not very good at reading your nonverbals, but you can kind of let things be said without actually saying it sometimes, I think.
Yeah, well, with me and Erica's relationship, she's the first girl that I have ever met, and I was stunned by that I didn't want to play games with. And, you know, in my life, like, I'm just as guilty as doing that in my earlier years, where I would try to play that game because I was insecure that if this girl got to know who I really was, maybe she wouldn't stay, maybe she would get bored, and it was a shame on me for projecting that onto my relationship. So Erica taught me, like, don't play games, you know, because she didn't play games, and she didn't say that she's not playing games. She did who she was, and it's a trust. So, like, I started doing that too, and I thought it's really nice.
And what do we mean by not playing games?
Like, you know it, like, when you first meet someone and you're like, you know, let's say you go on a first date and they're like, how long until I text them or if I call them? If you want to text and call them and say it was a great time, do it.
Do it.
If you want to call and text and say it wasn't a good time, then do it.
Don't be like, oh, he texted me, so I have to wait 10 minutes. Otherwise I'll seem too eager. Or if I wait too long, then I'll seem too relaxed. Like, no, if you want to text him, just text him. And if you don't want to text him, don't text him.
But use common sense. Don't do it like 7, 8 times in a row, though.
Yes.
Because now just
don't be that person.
Just creep you out.
Right.
And you know that.
Creepy.
But I want to go back to point 1 because I want to talk about my picture frame analogy. I use this a lot. I tell all my friends this, and to me it makes a lot of sense. And I don't mean to pick on the girls, I have come across a lot of females in my life that when they're telling me about, like, their relationships, I always ask them, like, so what makes this guy so special? And their answers essentially sum up what I would call, if you can visualize, like a picture with, I always think of the picture, you know, like the Green Acres picture where it's like the farmer's wife and the farmer, and it's like the guy has the pitchfork. Think of that picture, but instead of the guy with the pitchfork, it's like sort of just a cutout, and everything, the girl has everything planned. It's like the house, the dog, the kids, what she's wearing, and then, like, it's whoever guy fits the mold of my story at the right time in my life is my husband. And I think that is the worst way to go. So when I think about don't rush love, it really, you know, centralizes in my thought of, like, that picture to you should be just whited out, and whoever you meet, that's who you build your picture with. And I think that really is the anchor of a successful relationship. Because as a guy, when I met girls like that, I was like stage 5
Head
player.
for the hills!
No, because, you know, like, and stage 5 player. That's all. So just if you are guilty of being, you know, that thought, hey, I was guilty of other things in my life, just wipe that board out. start it over new with the next guy.
So basically, be yourself. Don't rush things. Just know what you want, know what you're looking for, be honest about it, and then let things come as they may, while also being willing to put yourself out there and go after what you want.
I have a bonus tip.
A bonus tip? Tell us what's your bonus tip,
We didn't
Tim.
prep for this. I would say my bonus tip is when you have a new relationship, treat it as a new relationship. Don't carry baggage over from previous relationships. That has to be in my 27, almost 28 years, something that I did myself and I've seen a lot of people do, is that if boyfriend from previous relationship did this, then boyfriend in the new relationship is already guilty for potentially thinking about doing this.
Don't let that happen.
Reverse. It's like, treat your new person as your new person, and trust as you would trust from the beginning. And I think, you know, it's easier said than done, but those are, I would say, the keys.
Okay, so now we'd like to give one of you the chance to win something that means a lot to Jamie and I. Boyfriend and I. So as we mentioned in our first and maybe second also video, we love Ed Sheeran. So our first date officially was to Ed Sheeran, and our 2-year anniversary date was to see Ed Sheeran. So we're giving one of you the chance to win Ed Sheeran's latest CD called Multiply. So here's what you gotta do to win. Number 1, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Number 2, tweet out using the share buttons below a link to this video with the hashtag coming up love. Coming up love. So it's like coming up roses, but love, because it's our love story. Yeah. So third, you could make a edit using screenshots from this video and put it on either Twitter or Instagram, also with the hashtag coming up love. And that's all you gotta do. So thank you for watching our love story. We hope you liked it. So thank you for watching our video. You leave a comment down below. Let us know what your tips are. If you're in a relationship for a while or have been dating for a while or something, leave us your advice on what really works in relationships and how you think you should find the one.
And also let us know what videos you'd want us to do if you want.
Yeah, because we're weird and we're real and we like to have a good time. So like if there's some crazy thing you want to see us do, well, let's not get too crazy, but like